This is my dog. And she is going to be building this theme park inside of Theme Park Tycoon 2. And yes, you may be wondering, how is this even possible? So let me explain. I'll give her 4 different options related to theme park things, like rides, flat rides, themes, or restaurants. Each option will have a treat on it, and the first treat she picks will be her choice of what we need to add to the park. Now, I'll be the one building these because, well, dogs can't really play Roblox, can they? So let's get started with the very first option, which is going to be the theme of the park. Oh, she went straight for industrial. Aye! So the very first thing she picked was the industrial theme. So let's quickly make a little entrance just to get the vibe of the park. So first of all, I'm just going to make some pillars just like this. Something like that will work well. Another thing I want to do with these pillars is add some of these arch pieces. And of course, we can then just copy these all the way down. Something like that I think will work nicely as the base. Down at the bottom of these pillars, I'm just going to extrude out this path like this just to add a bit more detail. Now, I think the industrial vibe I'm going to go for is more like a bricks and like old sort of industrial, I guess you'd call it. So the first thing I want to do is make these a brick sort of color like that. Then just make those concrete like that. The next thing I'm going to do with this basic little entrance is just quickly finish off this roof just so it looks a little nicer. I think something pretty basic should be fine. Now, one thing I want to do is build a big dog bone on here, as of course this is my dog's park. So let's get started with that. First of all, I'm just going to quickly make a support like that. Then we can start with the actual bone itself. So I'm thinking something maybe this size could be pretty cool, but I want to make this metal like that. Now I've got this, it's a dog bone shape. I mean, it looks all right. But I want to do something a little different. So what I'm going to do is just copy one of these cylinders, put a cube in it, and make it into a gear. Just like that should be pretty cool. Now what I can do is just replace all of these with this new gear. Now I think that's a little big, so I'm just going to shrink this down a whole bunch like that. And maybe even just put it right here. Now the last thing I want to do is quickly just add some text onto the top of here, and for that I'm just going to go into the theme park workshop and get a text pack. Now I've got this pretty cool pack here made by Cubdisusu. So I'm just going to call this park dog park. I couldn't really think of anything else. What I'll also do is quickly just make all this text metal just like that. Looks nice. I'll then grab this, copy it over and put it above the dog bone, make it a little bigger. Just like that. Another cool idea I had is instead of just using the O, I'm going to grab this gear again and put that in place. Could be a cool little effect. There we go. I think that's pretty cool. The very last thing I need to do is just add supports for all of these letters. And we'll paint these supports just a lighter color. I honestly think for an entrance, this is pretty basic, but it's pretty good and is exactly kind of what I was going for. And now that we got this basic little entrance made, before we do anything else, I want to get the basic coaster in. So let's see what my dog is going to pick. So next up, we're going to need the main ride. So let's unleash the dog. Where's she going? No, don't pick one. Oh. No, don't pick one, Mouse. Oh. Yeah. So unfortunately my dog picked the Wild Mouse coaster, which I did not want to build, but thinking about it just a little more, I think it might actually fit this area pretty well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have this station maybe here, seems good, and then I'm going to have it sort of come up here to around there. I think should be a good height. And with this coaster we're going to do the typical Wild Mouse turns around about here. I think I'm gonna have it do its first little drop. Honestly, I think so far this is all right. I'm not the best at coasters like at all. I'm gonna start to have this come down a bit now. I think I'm gonna have it come past the dog park sign here, and around about here I think I'm gonna make it do another massive drop, this time a lot steeper than the last. And then I'm gonna have it do some more of the typical Wild Mouse turns. And then here, I'm just going to have it drop down to around about here. And I'm just going to have it kind of head back to the station at this point. Now, this coaster layout is Very basic, very simple, but to be honest, I'm not happy with it. It's basic enough. We'll quickly just give this a little test though, just to make sure everything works. To be honest, as wild mouse coasters go, I feel like this is pretty accurate, although it is very slow, but we can fix that up with ride operations. Now, I've got this pretty basic little layout made. It looks like I used the basic editor, well, because I kind of did for some parts. But honestly, it works pretty well. We got block race in here. I think maybe like all the carts can be running at once as well, which is pretty neat. So let's quickly work on the station for this ride. Now, it's a little lazy, but I'm honestly just going to be using the basic queue paths to make it. Something simple like that as the line I think will work nicely. Put the exit there. Now, all I need to do is just paint this just to make it the right color. Now that I've got that, what I want to do is kind of make this whole area just a building, which is going to be a little annoying, but I think I could probably just copy a lot of this just from here. Now, as you could probably imagine, this park isn't going to be too big. The plan is to kind of only just fill this area, but if you want to see me do a part 2 of this, then let me know in the comments because I would be happy to. So I have now enclosed this whole queue and the station. So now what I'm going to do is add some height to this building just to make it look more like a factory sort of thing. And with that, we're just going to do some very simple little blocks just to make it look a bit better. We don't have to do anything too crazy here. I'm going to put some blocks maybe over here as well. And then right here, I think I want to make some massive little like pipes. Just make these like absolutely huge. Something like this I think will look pretty basic but nice. Pretty much all I really need to do is just kind of go around adding basic little details. Now with this building, I'm not going to do anything too crazy. I think what I've got now is kind of like the idea that I want to go with. It is very industrial, but I think it fits it very well. I'm going to put some more pipes over here, but make these smaller. Now I'm pretty happy with how this is going, and I kind of want to work on the inside of the queue just a little bit, so let's get that started. Cool idea I had for this would be to have the lights hanging off of some pipes in here. Something just like that. I don't want to have it too bright in here, just kind of keep it like a bit mysterious and dark, which I can then of course also just add to the queue here. Next, I'm just going to add these basic fences in. I can't be bothered to make anything custom, because I have already spent way too much time building this ready. Then the last thing I need to do on the inside of the building is just add some actual floors in instead of just grass. For this, I think I'll just make it concrete, like that will work fine. There we go, I think that works pretty well. Just as a final little touch in this main queue room, I'm just going to add some bigger pipes. Just like that, I don't know, it just adds a little something. And I'm also going to copy these into this back room here. And the last thing I want to do in this little room is just add some smoke. Now that I got the interior done, I think the next thing I need to do is quickly change the color of the rail, and I want to do like a copper sort of color, so let's do that quickly. Something like that I think looks nice enough. And for the train, I think I'm just going to go with some basic little gray with copper highlight. I think that looks nice. Now I'm happy with the shape of the building. It's a pretty basic looking building, but I think it will look better once I add in the custom supports, which is going to take so long, so I'll be back when I finish those. Alright, I am back and I have done the supports in the areas where I kind of wanted to. So just the areas where supports would despawn because the perimeter's below them. That's kind of what I've done. So pretty much just this little area near the entrance and then this little area here. I'm going to leave these for now because I don't know what I'm going to put in these two areas. We're just going to have to wait and see. But the final thing I want to do is create a name for this ride. Now the name I'm thinking of is going to be called the Wild Dog Coaster. It's just a play on words with the wild mouse. It's nothing special. So let's get started with that. Now all I need to do is just put the text into place, and then I've just got to paint this the right color. And what I'm also going to do is just add a backdrop for this just to make it easier to read. I think something like that will work fine. And then finally I want to add some lights to these. Now for the ride, I feel like I am pretty much finished. The only thing I can see myself doing is adding more supports maybe later on when I add things underneath that. So yeah, well, talking about adding things underneath it, let's go to the first flat ride. Next up, we got a flat ride, and we're going to let her pick 2 for this one. So unleash the dog. Oh, she's gone straight up to the right again for the air race. So the first flat ride she chose was the air race, which doesn't fit anywhere in here. So I'm going to need to extend the path out to here. So let's do that quickly. I think maybe around about here should be good. Let me just quickly test this to make sure this doesn't hit into the roller coaster. It is pretty close, so I'm just going to move it back. So let's now work on the entrance. I think it'll be cool to have the entrance sort of come through here. And then the exit, I'm just going to put on the other side. Just like that. Pretty basic, pretty nice. And of course, the next thing I need to do is get these fences and put them in. And I think maybe just here, I'm going to add another small little building, which honestly gives me such a good idea. One of the future options for my dog to pick is going to be a restaurant. So I'm going to put the restaurant right here. I'm not going to make the interior and anything just yet. I'm just going to pretty much just block this up. Something like that should work well. I'm also going to probably just add some fake buildings out the back here just to make it look like a whole factory sort of area, I guess. Then in this corner, I'm just going to add a basic little fence. Something like that I think works nicely. Down here, I'm going to add some extra path. Just because with the last flat ride, I think it will go nicely just in here. And because this kind of comes out a lot here, I'm going to quickly fix up the entrance just to make sure everything fits in nicely. The next thing I'm going to actually do is paint all of this terrain to make it rock. There we go. It's going to take a little bit, but it's starting to finally look quite nice. What I'm going to do now is just grab some pipes and just place them around just to add a bit of something to this area. I think just doing that just makes it look so much better. It makes it not look so flat. Now the colors of this are already quite good. The only color I want to get rid of is all of this sort of green. So let's just change that into the same copper color. And just like that, it looks 10 times better. For the first flat ride, I'm going to say I'm done with it for now. I want to get the second ride in so then we can kind of finish the whole area and make it look complete and as one. So let's go see what my dog is going to pick as the second flat ride. For the first flat ride, she picked the air race, which means she gets to pick one more. Let's unleash the dog. Where are you going? And she went straight to the right again for the jumper. Okay, nice. Now the second ride my dog picked was the jumper ride, so let's put this into place. I'm thinking just gonna put it just like that. Have the entrance on the left side, exit on the right side like this. You know, we'll have the exit come down, and then we'll have the queue path, pretty simple as well. Just like that, I think will work fine. The next thing I want to do is change the colors to something like this. Fits the vibe again. There we go. Now that we got both of the flat rides in and the basic layouts land, I want to just add some more details and build it up a little more. The first thing I'm going to do is grab the basic trash cans and put some of these just around, as this is a park accessible to the NPCs. Then next up, I want to also add some seats in, and we're going to use these benches, but I want to change the colors. I think something like that will work nicely. Now what I want to do is add some basic little rock work around these rocky areas. This is going to be nothing crazy like that. Or I have already spent hours building this park and I kind of just want to finish it. Now what I'm going to do is just copy around these piles of rocks into all the empty spaces. And then in some of these areas, I'm just going to add some extra little pipes in like this. Add just a little more color. I'm going to put down some of these dead trees just because I feel like kind of need something else. Just like that. I think just adds just a tiny bit more to it. I think this is looking pretty nice, which means we got to move on to the final choice for my dog, which is going to be the restaurant. The last pick of the video, she is going to be picking a restaurant in the park. Her choices are Kosie's Cookies, Gabe's Glizzies, Benny's Barbecue, and Not Me's Beans. Oh, straight for Benny's Barbecue. I like how she's just taking her time eating them. Good job, dog. So the final pick for the video was the Benny's Barbecue restaurant, so let's quickly make that. Now I'm going to make this building the sort of same design as pretty much every other building in this park so far. For that, we're going to need some of these cool little archways. So now all we need to do is put in some of the logos, with the first one of course being the main logo at the front. There we go, that looks very nice. Ooh. Another thing I want to do is create the little, what would you call them, menus out the front of the shop. So let's make that. We will put this image in as well. I'm going to also just quickly fix this sign up just a little bit. There you go, that looks pretty nice. Now we have to just quickly work on the interior of the building. So first I'm just going to grab some basic little ceiling lights. Place some there, place some here. That lights it pretty nicely. And then next I'm just going to put down 2 tables in here, nothing crazy. And now I'm just going to make the front counter. We will now put in the menus inside as well. The final thing I want to do in here is just make a slight backdrop for the something just like this. I think looks quite nice. Then on top, I'm just going to finally add a bit of a concrete roof onto it, just like that. And I think that's pretty good. It's pretty basic, but to be honest, making this whole factory here took way too long. Overall, I think we completed our mission of our dog making a park. I mean, look at this. Everything in this park was specifically chosen by the dog, and I think it honestly turned out pretty cool. If you want to see a part 2 of this, then smash the like button and subscribe. I'm also going to be putting the coaster POV as a members only video, so if you want to see that, then join the membership down below. With that said, if you enjoy this new type of video, I might make some more, even with not just my dog, maybe some other people perhaps. Another quick thing to say is I've also completely revamped my memberships. I'm going to be uploading videos a lot earlier, so I'd recommend getting that because the bang for your buck is going to be insane. And I'll see ya in the next video. Bye!